In this video, I'm going to show you how to implement new positive habits in your life to bring about effective change. What if changing just one bad habit could transform your entire life? If you truly want to change your outcomes in life, you need to look at how you're spending your time. And in looking at how you're spending your time, you need to then look at your habits. By following this very simple framework that I'll share in this video, you can eliminate your bad habits and get on track to the life you truly want. I'm Jeff, and I teach practical and spiritual methods for organizing and empowering your life. Today, this video is for sharing with you how you can create new positive habits in your life, which will then help you manifest the reality that you desire. So the first step toward creating new positive habits is becoming aware of your patterns. So before we change anything, we first have to realize, what are we dealing with? How are you currently spending your time? What are the good and bad habits that you currently have? For a lot of people, this is an area of their life that they really haven't investigated. And so what we want to do is identify when, where, and why we engage in the habits that we have. And as part of that, we want to look at the triggers. So what triggers this habit? It could be stress, it could be boredom, it could be certain environments, or even specific emotions. But I would say for a week, just make note, either in a journal or on your phone, of when certain habits come up for you. And what we can then do is look at what was the trigger for that habit. Maybe one habit that you have is every day when you come home from work, you do the same thing, and it could be a good or a bad habit. So you have this sort of trigger that you get home, you shut the door, and now you automatically go into that habit. So my challenge to you is, for an entire week, look very closely at how you're spending your time and what you're doing, and pick up on these little habits that you have, good and bad, throughout your week. It's funny, but it's often with these really simple daily habits that we can make significant improvements in our life. The problem is that most people are unaware of how they are actually spending their time. So we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but there's such a wide range of possible outcomes. So now that you've defined what your habits are in your life, we now move on to step number 2, which is set clear goals. So we need to clearly define what it is that we want to achieve. Before we implement these new habits, we need to know, where do we want to go? Where do we want these positive habits to ultimately bring us? And instead of saying something really generic, we want to get as specific as possible. So maybe one of your goals is, hey, I want to get up earlier. Well, that's a great start, but let's try something more specific, that I want to be up at 6 a.m. every single day. Right? That's a much more specific goal than, just sort of generically getting up early. So go through your life, your personal life, your professional life, your relationships, and really just write down on a piece of paper or on your computer, what exactly are the specific, clear goals that you want to achieve in these different aspects of your life. So now we come to step number 3, and that is replacing our old bad habits. So at this point, you've done an analysis of how you're spending your time, your good and bad habits, great. And then you went through step number 2, which is clearly defining what it actually is that you want in your life. So now step number 3, what we're going to do is, whenever one of those old bad habits comes up, we're going to catch ourselves and replace it with a new, healthier, positive habit. So for example, if you're not eating as well as you'd like to, you want to eat healthier, you want to take care of yourself. When there's a craving for junk food, or there's a craving to go get fast food, catch yourself and say, hey, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I've defined that I'm going in this new path. And you have to be really vigilant in this phase, because one issue with getting rid of these old negative habits is they've just become so routine for us. So we've got to catch ourselves in the first moment that it comes up as a thought. And then we can work to replace that habit with one of the new positive ones that we've already defined. Okay, so at this point, you've now identified the different areas of your life that you want to improve. One additional tip that might be very helpful is to now create a support system. So what you're looking for is you want to have personal accountability. And one thing you can do is that by sharing these goals with a loved one, a friend, a family member, it can help you hold yourself accountable and also get support from that other person when you're going through a difficult time and you feel like you're not quite where you want to be. And a lot of times just the encouragement from these other people in your life can really help you move closer to achieving these new goals. So one final tip I have for you as you're trying to create these new positive habits in your life is to start small and also be patient. So what we're looking for is really incremental change. It's not realistic to think that we're going to change all the aspects of our lives all at once. It's just not possible. But what we do want to do is catch ourselves when we get into these old bad habits and make incremental change, which will eventually bring us to our desired location. So one example of this could be, let's say you want to get more exercise. So you've signed up with the gym, you feel good about it. That doesn't mean you have to start out going out every single day. For some people that might be fine, but if you're a little out of shape, you might want to ease into it. And maybe you say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym this week, twice a week. And then you bump that up to 3 or 4 times. The point is that you can make these changes in an incremental way, and it doesn't have to be all at once. I hope these tips are helpful as you work to implement these new positive habits in your life. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.